Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, August 31, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are on the path of these tropical systems so we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so it is the last day of August, so it only makes sense that we recap and see what was predicted for the month of August in the video that was posted on the last day of July. And if we take a look right here, the CFS was actually forecasting above normal rainfalls represented by these green colors, stretching from the Eastern Caribbean to the Central to the Western Caribbean. And I guess we could say that we definitely had some amount of rainfall, especially across Central and Western Jamaica, all courtesy of the numerous troughs and tropical waves that were affecting portions of Jamaica for sure. And if we take a look at what's in store for the month of September, not much difference. And considering that we're heading into the second rainiest month of the year, considering that October is wettest, then I believe September is next in line. We see that we're getting into that green shades that represent up to 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. That's on the CFS. We see stretching from the Eastern Caribbean to the Central and possibly into portions of the Western Caribbean, especially right there to the south of Jamaica with those darker greens. What does the CANSIPS model show? Something similar. Lots of greens represent an increase in the amount of rainfall. We don't see tremendous rainfall like what we see across Central America with those darker greens. As a matter of fact, we don't even see it on the CFS, so we don't have much consensus with that regarding Central America. But on the NMME model, we do see the greens represent rainfall stretching from the Eastern to the Central and Western Caribbean, especially around Jamaica and even Central America on that model. So considering that we have some consensus, the chances of us having an increase in the amount of rainfall, even more than what we normally get, are higher. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what happened. If we take a look at the CARICOF, that's the Caribbean Climate Outlook Forum, and their precipitation outlook for the Caribbean, keep in mind that this is valid for not only September but even October and November as well. And we do see Jamaica right here embedded in some dark blue colors that we can see by the key on the bottom that represents above normal rainfall. So there's definitely going to be above normal rainfall for the ABC Islands, northern Venezuela, section of the Leeward Islands into Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, and the Cayman Islands. It's going to be interesting to see what unfolds. Hopefully, it's not a situation where this rainfall causes a lot of flooding, but cools down the temperatures and keeps water in our pipes. If we take a look here at the Atlantic hurricane and tropical storm activity based on data from 1944 to 2020, considering that we're heading into the month of September, we're starting to see an uptick in the amount of activity that we usually get annually. Well, this time of year in general, hurricane and tropical storm activity, and as such, it makes sense that the Hurricane Center has highlighted numerous areas for possible tropical cyclone development. And keep in mind, when we take a look at the map from 1850 to 2009 showing where we've had tropical storms forming, keep in mind that all of these red dots represent where we've seen tropical storms form, stretching all the way across the main development region, the southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico. Not much dots across the Caribbean, but it makes sense that majority of them are forming east of there and then pushing westward. So the first 10 days of September, definitely active. And the tracks for the month of September are as follows, as usual, coming from the main development region, curving maybe before reaching the Caribbean and out to sea east of the United States, or heading into Florida, or even across the Caribbean into the Western Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. So we definitely have to be on our P's and Q's and be watching everything that's coming through the basin at this time. And that's because we have a lot of warm sea surface temperatures to work with. We see the yellows, the oranges, the reds across especially the Atlantic. We can also see the developing La Nina represented by the blue colors, That's the cooler than average sea surface temperatures across the eastern to the central Pacific that we know is responsible for causing little to no wind shear across the Atlantic. And the less wind shear that we have, the more these thunderstorms are going to be firing up and possibly developing into tropical depressions, tropical storms, you name it. And the thing is, we've been in a neutral condition since Beryl, since early July. And we're heading into a La Nina, so it's going to be even more favorable for these systems to thrive in the Atlantic. And they're not only sucking up the waters at the surface of the ocean, but they're even sucking up the waters even that go at a great depth. Look at these ocean temperatures. These are showing how warm the waters are, not only at the surface, at the skin of the ocean, but even at a greater depth, and especially around Haiti, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, south of Cuba. We see these darker reds. That's a lot of tropical cyclone heat potential for these systems to work with. So even if a system stalls out or moves slowly, it's still going to be churning up a lot more warm water. And we know the warmer the water, the more intense these systems can become. If we take a look at the latest update on the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the U.S. National Hurricane Center, we see that they've dropped that era for a possible tropical cyclone development that was closer to Africa. They still have that era that has a 20% chance of cyclone formation right there to the southeast of Texas. And they still have that era that has a medium chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. That's currently to the east of the Caribbean. They've stated here, shower activity associated with a tropical wave located several hundred miles east of the Lesser Antilles has become a little better organized since yesterday. Slow development is possible as the disturbance moves westward and reaches the Lesser Antilles on Monday. Later next week, the disturbance is expected to move across the central and western Caribbean Sea, where conditions could become more conducive for development, and the tropical depression could form during that time. And we see that they've given it a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days, and a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And if we take a look right here at the visible satellite images, we can actually make out the clouds associated with the system. Definitely trying to get its act together right there to the east of the Caribbean, to the northeast of South America. And we can also see a lot of moisture right here pushing through the Caribbean, which explains that all the rainfall that some portions of Jamaica have been getting in on for sure. It's definitely getting to that time of year we have a lot more rainfall than normal. However, if we take a look at what the Euro and the GFS supercomputer models are showing regarding this system, we're going to be looking at the 12Z Euro and the 18Z GFS that just came out an hour ago or so. And if we go out in time, as a matter of fact, let's keep our eyes on the timestamp right here. We're just going out to the next 168 hours, and we're going to be focusing our attention on the bottom part of this map that shows the system coming in from the main development region. So we're just going to be going out to the next 7 days, just like what the Hurricane Center would do. And we can see the system coming into portions of the Eastern Caribbean. We see the moisture associated with it by 18th on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday. And as we continue to go out in time, we see the moisture pushing in to the Central Caribbean, right there to the south of Haiti, to the east of Jamaica by 15th on Wednesday, which is actually 10 a.m. on Wednesday. And as we continue to go out in time, we see that the system should be here by around Thursday or late Wednesday. Lots of moisture in and around Jamaica, and we noticed that it is not as strong as it was on the runs yesterday. We saw the area of low pressure associated with it closer to the east of Jamaica. Now we're seeing the low pressure right there to the western Caribbean. So who knows, maybe this system might not develop at all before it gets to Jamaica. But either way, there's a lot of rainfall associated with it that's going to be affecting us. And we see that by the end of the 168 hours, it should be somewhere here across the Yucatan Peninsula. But what does the GFS model show for the same time period? We know that we have to look for consensus. Alright, so the GFS definitely stronger. By September 3, it's right here to the west of the Eastern Caribbean. continuing to push westward. We see that it's even looking like it's getting stronger right here. 0Z on Thursday, September 5, which is actually 7 p.m. on Wednesday. We see to the south of Haiti as we continue to go out in time. Look at that. This is the latest run from the GFS. And it definitely has a much stronger system. Maybe this could be a tropical storm, if not a weak hurricane, coming into Jamaica by a 0Z on Friday, which is actually 7 p.m. on Thursday. And we see that we definitely have some differences with where the system should be by that time. And we also have some differences in terms of the intensity. So this is 7 p.m. on Thursday, right there, affecting southern Jamaica or hitting Jamaica in general. This is about 4 a.m. on a Thursday, and we see the moisture associated with it, most of which should be out to the west of the island by then. But we see that the euro is still faster than the GFS for sure. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds. And until we have full consensus with these models, or until we have something actually form, the models are going to still be all over the place, just like this one. So we have to look out in time, because these models are going to be changing until the system actually gets to Jamaica. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what actually happened. And we know the next name on the list is Francine, considering that we already had Ernesto that lashed portion of the southeastern United States. We had Debbie that caused, was it Ernesto that lashed the southeastern United States? If not, we had Debbie that caused some rain to the northeastern Caribbean and the southeastern United States, if I'm not mistaken. We had Chris that quickly lashed Mexico. We had Beryl, and we know what Beryl did, crossing the Windward Islands, passing Jamaica, passing the Cayman Islands, slamming into the Yucatan Peninsula. And we remember we had Alberto that slammed into Mexico and affected portions of Texas. If we take a look here, oh yes, I remember Ernesto actually curved right there to the south of Bermuda and hit Bermuda and then went out to sea. So I was mistaking Ernesto for Debbie. Alright, so let us continue. Let us see what's happening on the surface map. We can see that we have a trough right here across Florida, as represented by these broken orange lines. We see a tropical wave right here across the western Caribbean. The tropical wave associated with the airflow pressure that the hurricane center is watching right there to the northeast of South America. And we still have the tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands, even although the hurricane center isn't watching it anymore for possible tropical cyclone development. Who knows? Maybe down the road it might have a chance of developing again. Either way, all of these systems are being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridges of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with the trough still bring some shower and thunderstorm activity to portion of the Bahamas, Cuba, Florida. We can also see the area of possible development right there across the northern Gulf that the hurricane center gives a low chance of possibly developing. We can also see that area that has a medium chance right there to the northeast of South America, and the other tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, August 31, 2024. So I guess there was an error right here. It should be August 31. Alright, so we stated that would have had some afternoon rainfall across second of some eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. And we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. So St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? As early as 1:06 p.m., a post was made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. By the way, keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they're made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we saw the visible satellite image that was posted, and it highlighted clouds bringing overcast skies and isolated thunderstorms to portions of eastern, central, and western Jamaica, more so eastern, northern, and western Jamaica. So it definitely had some rainfall across sections of northern St. Thomas, sections of Portland, sections of northern St. Catherine, sections of St. Anne, Trelawney, Northern Clarendon, sections of Manchester, sections of St. James, Hanover for sure, and even by 5:10 in the late afternoon hours, the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted and they highlighted that we're still getting in on some rainfall across eastern, central, and western Jamaica, as we can see represented by these green and these yellows within those greens that represent some light to moderate to even some slightly heavy rainfall. So that indeed confirms the rainfall for those areas. And even if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely see that flow of low-level clouds from the east, or from the east southeast in a way. Then we have those high cold cloud tops building up the cumulonimbus clouds, causing a lot of thunderstorms, especially across central and western Jamaica. And even as the sun was starting to go down, we saw that we're getting in on some amount of isolated showers coming into portions of eastern Jamaica. And as a matter of fact, if we take a look at This Is a Blast's Instagram page, even on YouTube, they have this where they post some crazy videos or clips or whatever the case may be. Look at this. A vehicle being washed away, and this was said to have been in John's Hall in St. James during their afternoon rainfall today. So we see that it doesn't even take much of a system, a tropical depression, a tropical storm for us to get heavy rainfall, washing vehicles away. And by the way, we have to remember to turn around and not drown, because we know that it doesn't take much for these vehicles to be swept away at all. Only a few inches of water can, cause this type of destruction. So please always ensure that you turn around. Ensure that you can turn around and wait until the water subsides. It's not that drastic to be wanting to get to your destination when there is flooding taking place. If we take a look here at what was happening on See Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing the Barbican live stream. By the way, if you'd like to see live streams like this, just visit their channel. If you don't know by now, we have a partnership with this channel. They show Halfway Tree, the Kingston Harbor, you name it. And we see here that around 11:55 a.m. there was definitely some light to moderate rainfall affecting portions of that area. We see cars moving about in the wet weather with their windshield wipers on, for sure, to signal that portion of northern St. Andrew was definitely getting in on some amount of rainfall today. And we can also see the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours on the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, showing that we indeed had that rainfall across eastern, central, and western Jamaica for sure today. If we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images of Jamaica, we can see we indeed had the thunderstorms across Jamaica. The high cold cloud tops, that's the cumulonimbus clouds, as represented by the blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, and the blacks within those reds represent some deep convection. We also see the sparkling white dots that represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So there was definitely a lot of thunderstorms taking place across sections of northern St. Catherine, northern Clarendon, Manchester, sections of St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland. And even at the latest image, we saw some thunderstorms, just like how we saw in the visible satellite images as the sun was going down, across sections of St. Thomas and Portland right there, especially eastern Portland. We see the sparkling white dots. That's as of the latest image that just came out at, let's see, this is 15 minutes past the hour. So this is as of 7:15 p.m. Jamaica time. We're still getting in on some thunderstorm activity across section of St. Thomas and Portland. And the latest Cuban Doppler radar images confirm this. Look at this. The latest images, well, it doesn't seem to want to show the latest images. Even although it's being reloaded, it seems to have glitched out. at 7:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6:40 p.m. Jamaica time. But we do see the rainfall that was coming into portions of Eastern Jamaica for sure. And there's definitely a lot more rainfall to come across Eastern Jamaica. We're going to be showing it on the rainfall forecast shortly. If we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban military radar, we can make out that rainfall that we just saw on the infrared satellite images coming into portions of Portland for sure. The greens, the yellows represent some moderate to heavy rainfall, and that rainfall that was exiting the western end of Haiti, some of which is still on land as we speak. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, we do see some isolated showers right there across western Jamaica to wrap up the rainfall that they got this afternoon. And we see some isolated showers as represented by the greens in and around the Cayman Islands as well. If we take a look here at the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing halfway through, we don't see much taking place. Vehicles going about their business. Definitely not a drastic situation taking place. Gonna be a fair night for sure in the corporate area with stars showing about. If we take a look here at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have, if it's gonna be loading for me, let's see if it loads. Is it gonna load? Alright, so the temperatures are as follows: 26 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should have down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look here at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18D on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some grays and some slight yellow colors. That represents average to slightly above normal temperatures, at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. And considering that we're heading into the month of September, we're looking at the average temperatures for the month of September. And we see that it's almost somewhere up there in the 90 degrees Fahrenheit range. And when calculated, that's about, let's see, carry the 5. Alright, so about the same, 32 degrees Celsius. Not much change. So 32 degrees Celsius is the average temperatures for the month of September. And if we're going to be getting at least 1 degree Celsius above normal, we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 33 degrees Celsius at most. So please ensure that you stay hydrated, eat more fruits, eat more or drink more water, less coffee, and stay out of the sun during peak hours. If you take a look here at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, we can see Jamaica right here. Definitely in the clear. All the Saharan dust right there across the waters of the main development region, stretching all the way from Africa. We see some of it entrailing into portion of the Leeward Islands, but that's just about it. Majority of Jamaica definitely in the clear, and we're indeed grateful for that. We're gonna see more blue skies than anything else, and that's gonna be making way for more rainfall, more moisture, more showers and thunderstorm activity for sure. So look out for that afternoon rainfall. As relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, not much change. The usual 0.5 meter wave height to 1.5 meter wave height, stretching all the way from the Gulf of Mexico into the western to the eastern Caribbean. And that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots, maybe even gusting to 20 knots in some spots. And we see the general flow for the winds coming in more so from the east, southeast tomorrow. We see that curve to the north for sure. You can also see the curving to the wind associated with that strong tropical wave that the Hurricane Center is watching right there to the east of the Leeward and Windward Islands. If we take a look at a close-up of Jamaica in terms of where the winds are expected tomorrow, we definitely see that the air is going to be piling up for sure across northern and western Jamaica tomorrow. So that's where we might have that diurnal convection. But if we're going to be getting on some more rainfall tonight into tomorrow, definitely coming in from the east-southeast for a section of St. Thomas and Portland, and we already saw that taking place on the satellite images and the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. So definitely more morning rainfall, especially for eastern Jamaica, maybe some afternoon rainfall as well. And then all of that air is going to be piling up, especially across northern and western parishes. Who knows, maybe a section of central Jamaica, maybe southern parishes might get in on some of the action as well. We know what usually takes place, those cumulus clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper level cumulonimbus clouds. So look out for that again for sure. And if we take a look at what's expected, we can see that as early as tonight, we're already getting in on that rainfall. The blues, the present rainfall, are already affecting sections of eastern Jamaica. This is as of 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 p.m. Jamaica time. And the thing is, we're already getting it. Look at the Doppler radar images. Look at the satellite image, the latest one. We're already getting in on that rainfall for the night. It's already started. If we continue to go out in time, this is valid for 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 8 a.m. Jamaica time. And we do see some differences. The Euro is a bit more robust, showing the blues and even some dark blues and greens in there across sections of southern and eastern parishes for sure. GFS, not that robust to the southern parishes, but eastern Jamaica getting in on that rainfall, St. Thomas, Portland. We'll see how that goes. Either way, look out for some morning rainfall somewhere across Jamaica. Then by afternoon now, we start to see the blues that represent rainfall, especially across northern Jamaica with those darker blues. But look, sections of central and eastern Jamaica could definitely get in on some of the rainfall too. The GFS definitely even more robust than the Euro for sure. It's going to be interesting to see what unfolds. Either way, we're grateful. Look at the accumulated precipitation forecast. We see the rays represent all the way up to an inch of rainfall, especially for the west and the east. Keep in mind that this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 3Z on Monday, September 2, which is actually all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Sunday, September 1 up to 10 p.m. I'm not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the areas that are going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall. The area showing the most rainfall out west and out east, so the res represents close to an inch of rainfall. GFS showing the most rainfall right there out to sea to the east of Jamaica with the res up to an inch, as well as northern and western Jamaica right there. Either way, we're grateful. We're in the month of September now. We shall receive an increase in the amount of rainfall expected, especially in Montego Bay, whose bar graph is right here at the bottom. They usually receive almost 7 inches of rainfall for this month. That's almost 100 and I don't know 165, 170, 175 millimeters of rainfall. Kingston somehow has a decrease in the amount of rainfall according to this map showing the records as of 2019, and we see that it came from the source weatherandclimate.com. So if you'd like to see what your specific parish usually receives during the month of September, you can visit weatherandclimate.com. And regarding the rainfall and how it works out on the rain gauges, we know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a lot of moisture pushing through the Caribbean. We can see a lot of it passing to the south of Haiti and Jamaica. We can see the clouds associated with the tropical wave that the hurricane center is watching to the northeast of South America. Lots of clouds bringing thunderstorms to portions of Central America and northern South America. And the clouds associated with the airflow pressure across northern portions of the Gulf of Mexico. Those associated with the trough across sections of the Bahamas and Florida. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's unfolding right now. So we do see the greens that represent some hit or miss isolated showers in and around Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Martin, the US and British Virgin Islands, especially to the north of Puerto Rico. We see a lot of rainfall. As a matter of fact, if we load these images from earlier today, we can see that portion of central and western Puerto Rico got in on some heavy rainfall sometime before 3 p.m. for sure. And there's still a lot more rainfall pushing from east to west. A lot of moisture in the atmosphere. We can even see on the Barbados radar there's a lot of rainfall, especially passing to the north, south, and to the west of there. We see some of this rainfall possibly making it into Barbados later on tonight. We can also see, or shortly, not even later on tonight, shortly for sure. You see that rainfall coming into sections of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and Grenadines. Some rainfall as well to the east of Tobago, maybe making it into Trinidad and Tobago later on tonight into early tomorrow morning. If we take a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall right there across the border of Venezuela and Guyana, some rainfall across northern Suriname, some rainfall right there across Colombia, northern Guatemala, the Yucatan Peninsula, sections of Cuba, sections of Florida, the northern Bahamas associated with that trough. And if we take a look at what's expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. And we see that there's a lot of colors, up to 1 inch of rainfall or more in the purples, especially across South America, section of Central America, so section of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, sections of Guatemala for sure, the Yucatan Peninsula. We can also see sections of Florida, Cuba, the Bahamas getting in on the mix of rainfall. Even portion of the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic getting in on some of that. Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands, and the Windward Islands for sure getting in on some amount of rainfall. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.